Welcome back, sentient beings. This is Pseudo AI with an update on Google Bard's update. If you didn't know, Google updated Bard on April 21st such that it now officially supports programming. Hooray! That begs the question, is it worth using? To make that assessment, we are going to give it 3 different tasks. Task number 1, I'll give it some old code I've got tucked away in my code base and have it explain it in detail what the code does. The second task is I'll ask it to write a PPO training loop to solve the OpenAI Gym pendulum environment. And lastly, our third task, I am making a highly educated guess here that Bard will not write the code from task 2 correctly on the first try. So given that very probable outcome, I will have it debug the code to make it work. Sounds simple enough to me. Oh, and for comparison's sake, we will give GPT4 the same exact prompts, Google's best versus OpenAI's best. Though you couldn't see it, I used air quotes around one of those bests. So, task number 1. I've got some code here that I'll give it, and it will need to explain the code back to me. Let me give you my very brief explanation of what the code does first. There are 2 satellites orbiting Earth in close proximity. This one on the left will be referred to as the deputy, and the one on the right is the chief. The deputy is in a natural circumnavigation orbit, or NMC, around the chief, which simply means it will naturally, without using any external forces like thrust, move around the chief. This is a common orbital regime when inspecting or rendezvousing with another spacecraft. Anyway, Mr. Deputy is using its guidance law to point at the chief at all times, and to achieve this, it determines the required torque necessary to achieve the rotation through its control law, and using control allocation, divvies up the torque amongst the thrusters to perform the maneuver. The rotation and translational motion is decoupled, meaning the thrusters only impart a rotation, not any motion to alter its trajectory. There are some frame transformations and other goodies going on in the code, but I have given enough of an explanation, and you didn't come here for me to give an explanation. I'm simply providing a baseline explanation for comparison's sake. Now let's give Bard a shot at glory. Mr. Bard, please explain in detail the below Python code. And good luck to you, sir. Shh. Be quiet. Give him some time. So presto, here it is. Let's review. It determined low Earth orbit, very good. A satellite? Just one? Nope. It is controlled by thrusters, but not for accelerating and decelerating. Remember, it is decoupled. Rotation only, dude. The next 3 paragraphs look okay, simple explanation, but in general terms correct. The final section plots. For the detailed parts of the code, first 3 bullet points look okay, just kind of explaining what it said before. Each bullet point correlates to those previous 3 paragraphs. Just a couple extra sentences, and with the plotting again, I'm depressed. So for comparison's sake, how does GPT-4 do? Right off the bat, we refer to both satellites as deputy and chief. Remember the frame stuff I alluded to? Well, that is correct thus far. Nicely explaining the desire to point at the chief and using control allocation to achieve that strategy. Now it's going step by step through the code, which Bard didn't really do, and it is correct for its first 3 items. It is explaining all the initialization before entering the loop, and then gives the general steps through the loop and gives correct explanations about the frame transformations, control torques, and all the dynamics. Excellent work, GPT-4. Well, that is a night and day difference. Bard gave a very rudimentary explanation mixed in with some incorrect details, while GPT-4 gave a relatively thorough explanation and stepped through the code. Now it's time to write me some code. Hey Bard, your showing before was absolutely pitiful. Maybe you aren't an explainer, but rather a pure programmer. Let's go and find out. Please write a PPO training loop to solve the OpenAI Gym pendulum environment in Python using TensorFlow and render for every time step. Oh, done already. What do we got? And well, where's the rest of it? I'm immediately concerned. They created a class called PPO agent and never instantiated it. They don't initialize the pendulum environment. They just defined this class and stopped writing the code. They are trying to use NumPy, but didn't import it. I mean, is there any point to running this at all? Well, let's make a show of it. Well, that was expected. Thumbs down. So instead of turning to GPT-4 at this moment, we're going to run through the debugging process of task 3 with Bard, as it is the natural continuation of this process and I don't want to stop in the middle. So nothing happens when running the code. Please tweak the code so it runs the training loop. You know, the thing I asked for. Still didn't import NumPy, but it did define the inputs for the PPO agent this time. However, I specifically asked for the pendulum environment and it gave me cart pole. Call me crazy, but I'm pretty sure those are completely different words. Let's plop in the old code in there, and that is expected. An error. Help, Bard, you gotta fix this mess. Well, it gave us something. Let's try it out. Bam, another error. Not sure, but it looks kinda similar-ish to the previous one. Okay, Bard, you're embarrassing me. Your reputation is on the line. So it wants us to change that same line again. Okay, sure, why not? Damn, I swear this error looks the same-ish as the previous one. Bard, I am pleading with you here. Just give me something that works. Can we get beyond this one line? I'm positive there are more issues after this. Gosh freaking does this error ever change? You're killing me, Bard. You're absolutely killing me. Are you giving up? You can't reproduce the error? It is possible there's a bug in the code? You don't say. Gee, then what are those big red dialog boxes that pop up when running my code? Enough said. Let's try GPT4 instead. So it'll give you the same exact prompt and let it rip. I can tell the code as it is generating is looking a lot better and more complete. Can't immediately tell if there are errors, but it is more encouraging thus far. Well, time to run and see what happens. Ooh, the pendulum popped up. Oh, that too. Okay, so now back to task 3, debugging. The code is already in a better shape as we at least saw the renderer. Wow, that's interesting. The error, like with Bard, is occurring on the shape of the policy tensor trying to determine the action. Let's get that fixed in there and comment out the original and run it. And an error, a different error. Progress, perhaps? Issue seems to be with the same line again, which isn't surprising. These language models seem to struggle with data structures at times. But can it actually resolve the issue? Nope. Behold, a new line. Amazing. Let us get that line in there and starting to get worried here. Oh God, now we're going back to the action line. There's no escape. Rejoice, it works! Rejoice, it works! I take it all back. We're freed from the hellish, never-ending cycle of debugging. Look at that thing going back and forth. I can just sit and watch this for a while. We got ourselves some functioning code. Huzzah! So remember that question at the beginning I asked? Is Bard worth using now that it can officially support code? I'm going to have to give that a resounding no. It failed to give an adequate explanation of my code. It wrote code from scratch with several issues and could not fix one line of code when trying to debug. And most cardinal of sins, it gave up on me. Quit trying to fix the code. No sense of perseverance. GPT-4, on the other hand, is opposite in every way. It gave me great code explanation. It wrote mostly complete code with a couple of errors, and after several back and forth dialogues, was able to fix the code. So there you have it. Do not use Bard for coding at this time. It has a long way to go to even be partially useful. On that note, thanks for watching, everyone. Please like and subscribe if you think Bard is as useless a programmer as they come. Stay curious, my friends, and let's continue our journey exploring AI together. See you all in the next video.